I'd like to call the Butte-Silver Bowl Council of Commissioners regular meeting for Wednesday, December 15th, 2021 to order. Clerk, could we please have roll call?
There are 11 present and 1 absent.
11 present, 1 absent. Please note that Commissioner Frederickson is excused from tonight. Commissioner Sorge, could you lead us in the prayer and the pledge, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive, fellow commissioners. Almighty God, we implore you, look upon us and guide us this night as we make decisions which will greatly affect our community of Butte-Silver Bowl. Direct our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we please you and best serve our fellow citizens. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to the approval of the minutes from December 1st, 2021. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to approve the minutes that occurred on the December 1st, 2021 regular meeting.
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
There are 11 yeas, 0 nay.
11 yeas, 0 nay. Motion passes. Moving on to any items addressed on the items not addressed on the agenda tonight. Clerk, do we have anything? We do not. Okay, so we'll move on to the Chief Executive's report. We are going to move Section 3 in front of Section 1. We're going to bring up a person to be confirmed tonight. And so just note that on tonight's agenda. And just this will be our last meeting before the holidays, so I want to make sure that we wish everybody a happy holidays. We do have another retirement, I think I mentioned it last time, that is coming up, and he is in our audience today. Dan Dennehy will be retiring from us at the end of the month, and he is certainly going to be missed. And he's been in many levels in the government, an asset, whether it was the health department, public works department, and most recently as the director of emergency services. And so we thank him for all of his years of service and everything. So with that, I want to give him. You're welcome.
We do have another meeting, though, on the 29th.
What's that?
We do have another.
Oh, you do, but he won't be up here, and he won't be in the, well, he may be. He may come for another round, and I won't be here, so it's my chance to give him that. Another item that I just kind of want to address is that we are doing the Parks Master Plan, and there will be some public meetings that are coming up. I think the first one's going to be January 6th, and I'm not positive, but we will have it all listed out on the Butte-Silver Bowl website, and so please pay attention to that. I think it's going to be something that we want to really be involved with, and we want the commissioners to be involved in that plan as we move forward. So I'm going to close it out here. I know there's lots of things that are going on in the government, but we have a pretty robust agenda tonight, so we'll move forward, and we'll move forward to Section 3. In Section 3, we will go to, let me get to where I'm at here so I do this correctly.
Did you want to do public comment first?
Let's do the public comment after this one. I apologize. We'll do public comment on any items that's on the agenda after we do this. So we'll move on to Section 3, communications to be read and acted upon. Communication number 2021-595, Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence in the appointment of Kelly Lee as Fire Marshal, Assistant Fire Chief of Butte-Silver Bowl Fire Department. Commissioner Shaw.
Well, you want to call on him? Or?
So I guess, yeah, I always goof this up when we do this.
That's okay.
So I want to.
No wrong way to do it.
This is it's my pleasure to introduce Kelly Lee as the new Assistant Fire Chief, Fire Marshal for Butte-Silver. Kelly was one of our final candidates when we first posted this. He's very qualified. And as you know, our last Fire Marshal, Fire Chief, Assistant Fire Chief has been elevated to Fire Chief and Director of Fire Services. And so, as I've said many times before, we're so fortunate to have qualified applicants within our fire department, and just the talent that we have within, we're blessed with that, and we're excited that Kelly and his family are here with us today. And so I'd like to bring Kelly up real quick if he is available to just say a few words to the council, and then we'll move forward on the appointment.
Chief Executive Gallagher and members of the Council of Commissioners, thank you for your service to this community, and thank you for consideration for my appointment as the new Assistant Fire Chief and Fire Marshal for the Butte Fire Department. I'd like to thank Chief Executive Gallagher and Fire Chief Osborne for their confidence in me and my abilities to take on this challenging new role. There's just a few people I'd like to thank. My parents couldn't make it here tonight, but if it's not for them, I wouldn't be here tonight. So my wife and kids are in the audience, and sometimes being a spouse or family member of a firefighter is difficult at times, and they're always the ones that are left dealing with the emotional toll that firefighters, that our jobs take on us. So I really appreciate them supporting me. I'd like to thank the members of the Butte Fire Department for taking the time to come up and support me this evening. These gentlemen standing in the back of the room are true professionals and are relentless in their pursuit to become better at their profession. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our last two fire chiefs, Chief Jeff Miller and Chief Brian Doherty. They really moved this department forward, and their efforts should be applauded. And tonight, I'm leaving the best job in the world of being a firefighter with the goal to become a positive and effective leader for the Butte Fire Department. We have a great opportunity to continue and build on past success, and I'm excited for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Now I'll move to Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. It is my pleasure and honor to concur with Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher's appointment of Kelly Lee as Fire Marshal, Assistant Fire Chief of the Butte-Silver Fire Department.
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay. Congratulations, Kelly. And before we close that out, I'm remiss that I did not allow Fire Chief Osborne to come up and just speak a few words about it. I saw him back there, and I didn't allow him to do that, so I would like him just to come up and just say a few words about now confirmed.
You thought we could get away with it, didn't you?
Confirmed Assistant Fire Chief.
I thought I was off the hook there for a little bit.
No.
Okay, Chief Executive Gallagher, members of the council, thanks again for squeezing this in once again. I also want to thank Kelly, if he's listening back there, for stepping in and accepting this position. If everybody knows about the marshal position, it's not an easy job. It's a job that you're forced to wear many hats. Hundreds of plan reviews, hundreds of inspections, dozens of fire investigations that many times involve fatalities and high dollar lost property. So thanks again to Kelly. Yeah, not only is Kelly very well liked within the department and the members, he's also, more importantly, he's also very respected. We all respect Kelly and all his efforts that he's put in throughout the years. And on behalf of myself and the rest of the fire department, we're very happy and excited for Kelly and his family to take on this new position. So congratulations, Kelly. We're all happy for you.
Thanks, Chief Osborne. Now you guys can go out and do your photo op. And congratulations, Kelly, and best of luck. We look forward to many years of service with you. All right, we're going to move this on to any public comment on any item that is on the agenda tonight. If you have any comment on the agenda tonight, please come forward to the speaker or to the microphone, state your name, address, and the item number that you'll be speaking on. Seeing none, we'll move on to section 1, bid openings, public hearings, and/or presentations. We have one bid opening that was supposed to be on tonight, communication number 2021-569, Dan Dennehy, Butte-Silver Borough Office of Emergency Management Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to allow a bid to be opened at the council regular meeting on December 15th, 2021, for a 400 kilowatt diesel generator and automatic transfer switch for the Butte Civic Center. Commissioner Shaw.
I understand that this bid opening is not going to occur tonight, and we are to pull this off of the agenda. So at this time, I would move to place on file communication 2021-569. I hear a second?
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? I'll add a little commentary, and I'll have Danny come forward just to explain why we needed to pull this, and then if any commissioners have any questions about this, we'll address that. So Dan, if you could come up, please.
So we're just on the question.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Chief Executive Gallagher, members of the council, 38 years ago today, I started my career with the council on a communication, and I screwed that up, and now 38 years later, nothing's really changed. I screwed this one up. What happened really is that we did an addendum to the RFP. It was received by one of the vendors. It wasn't received by the second vendor. We felt that that was unfair, so we will re-advertise, probably be back to you a month from today. And so we felt it was fair to pull it, add on to the RFP to make sure it was fair for everybody who's bidding it. Also, we're meeting with Northwestern Energy next week, John Sullivan and I, and Jim Merrifield. They have some concerns with some of the main lines going under the Civic Center, so we need to clear that up before we go forward with this. So nothing's really changed in 38 years. Screwed up again.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Anything on the question from commissioners? Would commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to our second bid opening, communication number 2021-573, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for December 15th for supplying chemicals to be used for the Butte-Silver Bowl water and wastewater treatment plant at plants and Ridgewater's Water Park. County Attorney Joyce, do we have proof of publication?
Mr. Chief Executive, there is proof of publication. It does appear to be in order.
Thank you. Director Neary.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioners. I think I gave everybody a sheet before that states the prices that we had last year. We have 7 bids that came in. This first one is from DPC Industries out of Hudson, Colorado. Appears that we don't have a bid bond.
We don't have a bid bond. So with that, County Attorney Joyce, do we just,
Wait a minute, it says no bid to all chemicals. Sorry. All right.
okay, so we just don't rate it? Okay. Let's move on to the second one. So they did not meet the requirements with the bid bond.
They didn't bid on any of the chemicals.
Oh, they didn't bid on any of the chemicals?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
That's how this night's gonna go. So,
That seems like a lot of effort to
exactly.
to send a blank document.
The second bid is from Shannon Chemical out of Exton, Pennsylvania.
On these, we don't need a bid bond, am I correct? We do, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm sure we did.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce.
Sorry, Chief Executive. These are very confusing bids. Yeah, but I gotta make sure there's not more than one. This company bid on the 50% citric acid. The total on the bid is $224,475.63. $224,475.63.
$224,475.65.
63.
63 cents. Thank you.
This next one is from Environmental Operating Solutions out of Pocasset, Massachusetts. Whatever.
Obviously, you didn't live on the flat.
Now we can all have so much fun up here. Yeah.
Give a check on it.
Is the bid for 15.9?
So you have to know that to know if it's 10%, right? Has to be an easier way. Yeah, yep.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is bid security in the form of a cashier's check in the amount of 10% of the bond, of the bid, which does appear to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce.
Chief Executive Gallagher, this company bid on the Micro C2000 at $4.92 per gallon, and the total is $59,040.
Okay. $4.92 per gallon, and the total cost is $59,040.
Can you keep that check? The next bid is from Usalico out of Baltimore, Maryland. This might be funner than Christmas. Oh. I'm looking. Where? Huh? That's not the bid bond. Oh, it's so hard to just put it somewhere you can find it.
What was the hardest part of these? Trying to find the bid bond.
I think I found it. I don't think there's one in here.
They may not. Yeah.
Right in the top.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is a bid bond from a licensed surety company in the amount of 10% that does appear to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce. That was
Chief
echoey.
Executive Gallagher, this company bid on the liquid aluminum chlorohydrate, and the total was $105,986.40. $105,986.40.
$105,986.40. Thank you.
The next bid is from, I'm not really sure,
Origin.
Origin ID Muni Team Universe USA. I don't know. It's from Kent, Washington. I guess just Origin. They sent you some easy reading. These ones are going to go fast. Nice.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce.
For some reason, there's two copies. I do too, I don't know. Christmas.
It's not funny anymore. Did they send 2 bid bonds?
Are the other 2 envelopes separate of these? So I'm wondering if the pricing may be in the other 2 envelopes.
Yeah, I see the prices on their bid bonds, but I can't find the form that they filled out. So was one of them for 6,900? I got that one. It's for 1. How much is it for? Well, it looks to me like they only bid on one thing. No, those are copies.
Those are just,
So it's, Chief Executive Gallagher, we have 2 bid bonds for the same chemical. One's for 25% and the other one's for 50%. So the total on this one is, wait a minute. We have 2 separate, because we have a 25% sodium hydroxide, that's one, okay. So on the, so on the 25% sodium hydroxide, the total is $69,260 even. $69,260.
$69,260
So now I just have to
on
find
the
the other.
25%.
Yep, I just have to find the other one. Was the 50% in front of that, Jim? In your, when we laid it out, was the 50% to be bid before the 25%? Or do you?
It's after. Yeah.
Okay. 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 And on the 50%, the total was $132,066 even.
So that's $132,066 even.
Sorry about that. The next one is from Thatcher from Salt Lake City.
No relation to Commissioner Thatcher.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce.
So that's your bid on the 50% sodium hydroxide. And they put a range in here from $127,281 to $152,737.20.
So that's a range of $127,281 to, and the next number was $152,737.20.
Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun. I'll probably drop it in the parking lot. Have a huge mess. Oh, the final bid is from Hawkins out of Roseville, Minnesota. Did you? I'll give him to Jim.
Doesn't help when your daughter's sitting across from you taunting you, does it?
I know. Oh, look at there.
Mr. Chief Executive, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce.
So Hawkins bid on 7 of the chemicals.
Well, that's
So the first one they bid was the sodium hydrochloride solution. It was $130,000 even.
That's $130,000
Yep.
for the sodium hyperchloride. Yep.
The second one was 25% sodium hydroxide. That was $89,539.80. $89,539.80.
$89,539.80
Yep.
for the
They-
25%.
Yep. They bid on the 50% sodium hydroxide, $167,666.40. $167,666.40.
$167,666.40. Thanks.
They bid on the 50% citric acid, $185,542.50. $185,542.50.
$185,542.50.
Yep. They didn't bid the liquid aluminum sulfate, but they did bid the liquid chlorine, $22,200.
$22,200.
They also bid, gee,
Gee,
let's just stay there. $54,195.60. $54,195.60.
$54,195.60 on the final bid.
And then they bid I, liquid aluminum chlorohydrate. $195,571.74. $195,571.74.
That's $195,571.74.
Yep, so their total was $844,716.04. 844,716.04.
So the total bid on the 7 chemicals is $844,716.04. Thank you, Director Neri.
That concludes the bids.
Let's see you put it all together again. So, Commissioners, yeah. Commissioner Shaw, should we take a motion and then?
Sure. I would move to refer these several bids back to the Public Works Department for the recommendation back to this council.
We have a motion and a second to refer back to the Public Works. Anything on the question? Commissioner Sorge.
Thank you, Chief Executive. Mark, we're over here talking, that was about clear as mud. Anyways, we're over here talking, we're about to run the sliding range. Is that, when you ask for a bid, are you asking for a bid per unit? Is that kind of when, so when they bid on something like that, that's not really a bid per unit, is it? Because they're trying to get you the, obviously the more you buy, the cheaper price you're getting, is what it appears. So is that bid something that's even acceptable?
Thank you, Commissioner Sorge. Director Neri.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. Commissioner Sorich, if you look on that sheet, like just say sodium hydrochloride solution, the range that we want is 30 to 40,000 gallons. And if you look in the max price, it's for the max amount. So they're giving us a price per unit for the 40,000 gallons.
Okay.
On the Thatcher bid, we did have some calls about they wanted to just do a quarter rather than a full year because of prices of chemicals and stuff, and we weren't really sure where we're gonna have to go with this. We didn't know, but we couldn't change the bid. The bids were already out, so we couldn't change them. That's why we came and we opened them, and I think they were the only one that gave us a range. Okay. But until Jim Keenan thoroughly goes through these, through these bids, we won't really know, but okay. That's how it is.
Thank you, Director Neri.
Thank you, Mark.
Any other questions of commissioners? Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. Missionary, when you're going through all these,
Can you read my writing?
I might have missed it, but was there a bid that was for environmental operating solutions? It was number 3 on the list that you gave us on that handout, but it didn't seem like they did anything.
I think I can answer that. They did on the micro C that they bid $59,040.
Oh, I have it written down. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of commissioners? Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. So there were no bids for chemical E or H. What do you guys do in that case?
Thank you, Commissioner Shea. Director Neri.
We, Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioner Shea, we advertise to get them.
Okay. Any other questions of commissioners? Seeing none. Oh, go ahead. If we could have,
We should have a staff report.
if you would come up to the mic, Jim, please.
Mr. Chief Executive and Commissioners, my name is Jim Keenan. I'm the Chief Water Operator, and I just wanted to clarify some of the people who are bidding or paying attention online. I got a text from Thatcher, and he said we missed his package. He said that they did bid, I think, on all the chemicals. So I think that maybe, as far as your question, somebody had the question about maybe some of the chemicals were missed by the bidders. Sounds like Mr. Perkins is wanting to clarify, make sure that we know that they did bid, I believe, on all the chemicals. So it's confusing, those piles of papers there. It's apparently in there somewhere, though.
Thank you, Jim. And this is the right time to check that out before we vote on this. So we'll revisit Thatcher Chemicals bid here, and that would be number 6.
Chief Executive Gallagher, sorry, I did find the sheet in here, buried in the portfolio. All of these are ranges.
So you want to start reading them off by
Yep, I'm
order?
just there's a lot of, I'll read the ranges, I mean, then we can go through this. There's a lot of
Right.
stuff on here that I don't know if it's following our bid. That isn't what, this isn't
Do
what
you-
we asked for,
would-
that's what I'm saying.
Would you like Mr. Keenan come up and kind of help decipher it for you, or?
Well, I
knowing
think
that he was
we,
put it-
we didn't ask for a range.
I suspect that they're applying their price to the minimum quantity that we estimated and the maximum quantity. The instructions were for them to multiply their unit
For the
price
maximum
times the
queue.
maximum quantity. So I think they probably missed that detail. I think they're applying their price to the minimum quantity that we estimated and the maximum quantity.
Yeah, they have days on here of ARO and,
Oh, after receipt of order, yeah, that's how many days they're almost delivered.
Okay.
okay, so they're probably following the bid as we,
Will we need to read that?
as we put it out?
Totals right now, or should we just send it back and let it be reviewed?
Okay. Okay, all right.
County Attorney Joyce, would we be all right to just send this back without reading the totals right now, or should we read them all and then send it back?
I can read them quick.
Okay, all right,
Since you did it for all the other bids, you might as
Right.
well.
right, okay, all right. Thank you, County Attorney Joyce. Director Neri, if you would.
So on A, the range is $65,850 to $87,800.
So 65,850 to 87,800?
Yep.
Okay,
The 25% sodium hydroxide is $50,062.50 to $70,087.50.
okay, so that would be $50,062.50 to $70,057.50. Okay,
50% sodium hydroxide is $127,281 even to $152,737.20. I think that's.
yeah, that's the one that we already had right
Okay.
on the 50%.
So 50% citric acid is $109,759.10 to $137,198.88.
So 109,759.10 and $137,198.98.
88.
88 cents. Okay.
Liquid aluminum sulfate was $70,065 to $84,597.
$70,065 to $85,000. I didn't catch the end of that.
$84,597.
Repeat that one more time. Sorry. 84,000?
$84,597.
597. Okay. 84,597.
The liquid chlorine was $9,720 even to $19,440 even.
So 9,700 and
20?
20?
9720,
9,720 to $19,440.
yep.
Okay.
G is $0 to $216,000 even.
So that's a pretty good scale. 0 to $216,000.
Right.
Like the zero.
Yep. H is not applicable,
Okay.
and I is $81,837.60 to $143,215.80.
So $81,831.66
$837.60.
37, okay, to 143,215.80. Okay,
And the Micro C 2000 is $18,352 even to $55,056 even.
so that's $18,352 to $55,056
Yep.
is the range.
So their grand total is $532,927.20 to $966,132.38.
You gotta read the first number again.
$532,927.20.
Okay, so $532,927, or $927.20 to $966,132.38. Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, we have had a motion and a second to refer back to Public Works. Anything else on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Commissioners. And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to public hearings. We have 3 tonight, and so County Attorney Joyce, do we want to do all 3 if we have proof of publication?
Mr. Chief Executive, we do have proof of publication for all 3 public hearings, and all appear to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce. First public hearing, communication number 2021-570, Karen Malogny, Butte-Silver Interim Health Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a public hearing on December 15, 2021 for the purpose of amending the fiscal year 2021-22 budget to allow for increased expenditures of unanticipated revenue resulting from amendment to the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant. Do we have Karen with us tonight? Okay, so we'll have Director Gleason speak on her behalf.
Chief Executive Gallagher, Council of Commissioners, this is an amendment to their grant. They are in the process right now of actually receiving even additional money beyond this one. This one is for, I believe, the $161,698 additional funding that will be coming down, and it is a result of COVID and continues for their preparedness related to COVID. So.
Thank you, Director Gleason. Do commissioners have any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. We'll call for proponents. Do we have any proponents? First call for proponents. Second call for proponents. Third and final call for proponents. Seeing none, we'll move on to opponents. First call for opponents. Second call for opponents. Third and final call for opponents. I'll close the public hearing. Moving on to communication number 2021-571, Karen Malogny, Butte-Silver Interim Health Officer, requesting Council Commissioners authorization to schedule a public hearing for December 15th for the purpose of amending the fiscal year 2021 budget to allow for increased expenditures of unanticipated revenue resulting from an amendment to the immunization grant. Director Gleason.
Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioners, again, this is an amendment. Additional funding is coming down to the Health Department. This immunization amendment relates, again, to the vaccine clinics in response to the increased age limits, as well as providing booster clinics. I believe the total funding for this one is $321,000, and the contract period's a little bit longer, so I'm not positive on how much funding will be introduced in the resolution. It could be potentially just half introduced for you for this fiscal year with additional funding coming in next year's budget.
Thank you, Director Gleason. Any questions for Danette? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. We'll call for proponents. First call for proponents. Second call for proponents. Third and final call for proponents. Seeing none, we'll move on to opponents. First call for opponents. Second call for opponents. Third and final call for opponents. We'll close public hearing. Moving on to our third communication, Mark Neri, Public Works, communication number 2021-574, Mark Neri, Public Works Director, requesting Council Commissioners authorization to schedule a public hearing for December 15th, 2021, for the purpose of soliciting comments on the preliminary engineering report for the 2021 Water Master Plan. Director Neri.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioners. We went out for an RFP, it was quite a while ago, to update our water master plan. HDR was a successful engineering firm that updated it. And in the audience tonight, we have Shanna Adams, who will give a presentation on the upgrades that we have done.
Welcome, Shanna.
Thanks. Chief Executive Gallagher and Commissioners, thanks for having me tonight. I know you have a lot on your agenda, so I'm going to try to be brief, but I do have a presentation to talk about the Water Master Plan and the preliminary engineering report that we did for the county. So I'm going to talk about three things tonight: the Water Master Plan, which was written in the preliminary engineering report format, the recommendations that came out of that plan, and then the ARPA grant applications and future funding sources. So a preliminary engineering report is basically a master plan. We took a year, about a year, to do an evaluation of the water system. It's written in a specific format, and this PER will be used for years to come, basically updated every couple of years, and it will be used for grant applications. Go ahead. So the PER is a report, I don't know, about this thick, that serves as a basis for every grant application. It's 40% of a CDBG score, 47% of TCEP, 80% of RRGL. It's 17% of the ARPA grants, but it serves the basis for all of the pieces of the application. So just kind of a note that this type of project planning is critical so that the county is ready to apply for grant applications when they become available. So what did we do? So basically we updated population information and water demands out to 2040. We kind of take a 20-year planning horizon. We updated the hydraulic model, which basically is a computer model of the entire system and allows us to do what-if scenarios and take that look out 20 years and kind of understand where the weaknesses in the system are. We did some condition assessments for above-ground facilities that the county wanted us to look at. And then we identified and prioritized projects. So this is just a really quick look at the hydraulic model. So it lives on a GIS platform. It's very dynamic. It allows us to make changes quickly. I thought this one was interesting just to zoom in on. This is Dewey Boulevard, and you can see the red water main there. That is before the Phase 2 and Phase 3 Dewey Boulevard projects happened. So we saw that and we zoomed in, and that tells us in particular that the velocities were really high, so we're trying to stuff a lot of water in a small pipe. After the Dewey Boulevard project was completed, you know, those velocities are much better. This is another look at the hydraulic model. So this is showing you the red are small diameter water mains, less than 6 inches, and then the yellow circles, I guess we lost most of our firefighters, but those yellow circles show us a 250-foot radius around the fire hydrants. So this might be an area where, you can go to the next one, you know, we would zoom in and say, this area in particular, these water mains are some that are already targeted for replacement by the county, and we can see that they're small diameter, and there's an opportunity to add fire hydrants. So we can look at the recommendations that came out of the plan, and the plan is on the county's website, so you can download it and take a look at it. The recommendations come in 3 phases. So phase 1 is kind of near term, phase 2 midterm, phase 3 long term, you get that. So these are some of the phase 1 recommendations that we wanted to talk about tonight. So the Molten water treatment plant filters are the original filters from 1995, and they are at the end of their useful life. This is probably the biggest project that came to light. PRV upgrades. So I'm going to talk about each of these a little bit in more detail, but the pressure reducing valves in the system, some of them are very antiquated. The valves are from a company that no longer exists, so those valves can't be rebuilt. They will need to be replaced. Small diameter water mains, I kind of showed you some of those areas. They're a problem because you may not be able to get the fire flows that you want, and those areas may experience lower pressures than desired. We talk about watershed protection plans. So this would include a fuels reduction plan in the Basin Creek watershed. There is a video up on the county's website that kind of explains what's happening there. It's only 3 minutes and gives a really nice explanation. We found some upgrades needed at the Summit Valley Pump Station. And then I think you probably have heard a little bit about what's happening at Molten Dam and also a future project at Basin Creek Dam. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more detail about these top 2. I think the others are a little bit self-explanatory, and then Basin and Molten I think you'll hear about in other forums. So the top right is an aerial of the Molten water treatment plant, built in 1995. The filter has exceeded its useful life. The filter is in the tank you see on the bottom right, and that tank we found has severe corrosion and is leaking. The plant at maximum capacity can do 2 million gallons a day. So what we're proposing is changing out the filter and replacing it with a membrane, which is new technology, similar technology to what's at the Basin Creek water treatment plant. It'll reduce water waste and increase the plant's capacity by 25% to 2.5 million gallons a day. So this is just an overview of the treatment process that exists in the plant today. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into detail on all of this, but you can see the bigger circle on the right. That's the filter tank. So if you go to the next one, you can kind of see we're basically proposing demolishing that tank and replacing it with membrane filters. So just a little bit more about the PRVs. So you can imagine most of the water, or some of the water in Butte, is stored in water tanks up on the hill. As that water is distributed down the hill, the pressure increases. So you need a PRV to reduce the pressure as it comes down the hill. And like I said before, some of those are old and they're in need of replacement. A lot of them also are leaking past the valve, and what that does is cause the county to pump more water than they would need to. So we're pumping up on the hill, it's coming down the hill, we're pumping that same water again. A failure could result in high pressures in the system that can cause leaks and would need to be an emergency repair. Okay, so funding strategy. I think you've probably heard a lot about the ARPA program. So the county will be applying for 2 ARPA grants for the water system, 3 3 ARPA grants for the water system and 2 for the wastewater system. Other grant funding opportunities that the county might pursue: CDBG, TSEP, which is now called MSEP, RRGL, and then the infrastructure bill that was passed this year. We don't have a lot of details on exactly how those dollars will flow to Montana, but there's quite a bit of funding that will become available there, and the NRD program as well. So this is just a summary. I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about the funds available to the county. 15 million in treasury, 5.5 million in minimum allocation grant, and then competitive grants. The state is awarding competitive grants through the ARPA program for up to $2 million per project. They've already done the round 1 grants, and we're in round 2 right now, and it closes January 14th. So the county will be submitting 5 competitive grants January 14th, and all of that will come through the ARPA committee that you guys have for approval, and then will come to council for approval. So there'll be more information on this at the January 5th meeting. So I kind of talked about this already. The 5 applications are for the Molten filters, Molten Dam, Basin Creek Dam, and then 2 wastewater projects that you'll hear a little bit more about at the January 5th meeting. And then also this year, some of these grant programs open on the even numbered years. So there will be 2 more that open this year that could be potential funding sources. And then this is where the Water Master Plan lives on the county website. Any questions?
Thank you, Shanna. Any questions of commissioners? That was very comprehensive, and this makes us competitive, just so you know. When we're talking about these ARPA grants that are out there, we were just listening in this last week, and there's only been 1 competitive grant so far in the state submitted so far. So we know that, you know, people are struggling to get these out and ready to go, and having, with HDR's help, we are in a position that we're going to be able to put in competitive grants and the competitive grants help us so that we're not eating up all of our allocation ourselves. So that's for the knowledge of the commissioners here. But thank you, Shannon. All right. Since there's no questions, we'll move on to section 2, that now we move to section 3, consent agenda. A 1 through 4 and B 1 through 29. Do we have any friendly amendments or segregation? What's that? Oh, I got to close. Oh gosh, I better do the public hearing. You did such a great job. I didn't think I needed a public hearing. Sorry, Shanna. Let's open the public hearing. I will call for proponents. First call for proponents. Second call for proponents. Third and final call for proponents. Seeing none, we'll move to opponents. First call for opponents. Second call for opponents. Third and final call for opponents. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Now we'll move on to section 2, consent agenda. Thank you, Shanna. We'll go to committee reports A 1 through 4 and communications B 1 through 29. Do we have any friendly amendments and or segregations? Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. First of all, I have a friendly amendment, and this is over on item number 19, communication number 2021-598. The schedule for the public hearing for Mark Neary is actually January 5th of 2022, not 2021. It's just a clerical error to change that to 2022. And then I also would like to segregate item number 1, 2021-579.
Okay. Any other segregations? Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I would like to segregate communication, item number 7, communication number 2021-585.
Number 7, 2021-585. Any other? Commissioner Anderson. We are not having next week, so that would be correct. I made that mistake also, so you're not the only one. So I sent a message back to them, say they couldn't do it then, and we actually had changed it. So we do have a meeting on the 29th, not on the 22nd. Okay. Commissioner Fortune?
I'd like to segregate 2021-597, number 18.
18?
18, okay. It's number 18, communication number 2021-597. Any other segregations or friendly amendments? Commissioner Fisher?
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I would like to segregate communication number 2, 2021-580.
That's communication
Which item
number
number?
2021-580,
Item number 2?
item number 2. Okay. Any other segregations? Seeing none. Commissioner Shaw?
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to approve Section 2, Consent Agenda A 1 through 4, and Communications B 1 through 29, I believe it is.
Yep.
29, with the exception of Item 1, 21-579, Item 2, 2021-580, Item 7, 2021-585, and Item 18, 2021-597. Do I hear a second?
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Going back to number 1, communication number 2021-570, Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence in the following reappointments of Brian Sotaro, Patrick O'Brien, Sherry Walsh, Beth Parks, Brandon Warner to the Insurance Committee. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. My understanding is that, well, excuse me. Is my understanding that this item needs to be placed on file, but I'll let you maybe give us a little update on that one.
Thank you,
Chief
Commissioner
Executive
Shaw.
Gallagher, thank you.
Yeah, the reason for that Commissioner Shaw segregated this is that there are some appointments on here that are not qualified to go back onto this board, so we need to go back and readdress this, so
Okay.
we'll address this at a later time.
All right, at this time, I move to place communication 2021-579 on file.
We have a motion and a second to place on file. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to communication number 2021-580, Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for Chief Executive Gallagher to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Montana distributors and Janssen opioid settlement. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. The reason I segregated this is I believe a lot of people weren't on this commission at the time that we decided to go with the state, rather to represent us as a county in the state of Montana, versus we had 3 attorneys here from a private law firm that were also wanting us to go side with them on a private lawsuit. And at that time, the commission elected to go with the Mark Mattioli in the state of Montana, which I was opposed to at the time, and I'm still opposed to today, but I just want to bring everybody up to date what's going on here. It has to do with the opioid lawsuit, and at that time, Butte-Silver had a real inside track to get a better share of the money, in my feeling, rather than splitting it with 56 counties in the state of Montana, which we'll probably end up doing now, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to bring that up, and I want to wish our county attorney good luck in this, because it's not an easy task to take on when you're dealing with the State Department of Justice in trying to get our fair share of this money. So That being said, I would just like to concur and place on file communication 2021-580. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to concur and place on file. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to communication number 2021-585, Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence in the following reappointments of Tiber Everly and Michelle Shea into the Library Board. Commissioner Shea, all of you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I segregated this simply just because there is an error in the title. Tibor Everary has actually left the board, and the appointment should be for Julie Bushmaker.
Thank you, Commissioner Shea. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to concur with Communication 2021-585 and place this on file as amended, taking out Tiber Everary's name. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to communication number 2021-597, Bob Lazary, Parks and Recreation Director, requesting Council Commissioners authorization for Chief Executive Gallagher to sign a renewal of the lease agreement between City and County of Butte-Silver and Rocky Mountain Martial Arts. The lease is for the Longfellow Center building at 3233 Kennedy Avenue. Commissioner Fortune.
I just had a couple questions about this, and I guess a comment too, but the first question is this building like advertised at all for the public? I mean, or is it just, and it just says renewal. I mean, do you guys advertise any of the Butte-Silver buildings for anyone to rent or lease?
Yeah, Commissioner Fortune, this has been a business that has been in there for many years, and so this is kind of a renewal of the lease. This is part of the Parks Master Plan, though, as we're addressing the properties that are owned by Butte-Silver that are within the inventory of the parks, whether we should advertise them for sale or if we should continue to offer them into lease and things like that. So for us to be able to dispose of property, we need to have that Parks Master Plan done as well. This is an existing business that's been in there for many years, and so I believe this is why they're extending the contract here. I know that Mr. Lazary wasn't able to be here tonight to answer the questions, but I think that pretty accurately describes what's going on. Commissioner Shea. Shaw. Sorry, Shea.
Hey, Shaw. Thank you, Mr.
Long
Chief
night.
Executive. Commissioner Fortune, I did have a chance to talk to Bob Lazary today. He was very sorry he couldn't make it to the meeting, and I had a couple questions similar to yours. But the main thing here is this lease, I think they're paying $100 a month for quite some time. And so Bob had, I believe it was McLeod Real Estate, look at that and give an idea what the market value is and what the going rates are for rents. And they're right around $750 a month. And so what Mr. Lazary is trying to do here is incrementally raise that rent from $100 over the next couple of years to $300, and then go on instead of hitting it with the big one. But the people here did agree at Rocky Mountain Martial Arts that they knew they were really getting by with an awesome deal. And so I believe that was the main reason. They're good tenants. They take care of the building. It's about 2,000 square feet, the way I understand it. And so I guess they were willing to do that. So that was his main reason for putting this in, was to get it up to a much more realistic figure, to pay for rent for the building. They maintain the outside as just a parking lot mainly, but that was his comments to me, and he was hoping I would convey that to the council.
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw. And just one point of clarification, just on this, you asked, one of your other questions was, do we advertise this for other businesses? And it didn't really go out with the existing person, business in there. It did not go out for others to go into occupancy since they were already a tenant in there. I think it was just negotiated on the increase of the rent. Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chief Executive. I don't have the lease because I can't get my email up, but in that, does it say, do they pay the power bill, water bill?
They pay everything.
Okay.
So, Commissioner O'Neill, they do pay the utilities there. Some of the things that we've had to do over the last few years is put a roof on, improve the heating system. There's been a lot of costs associated with this building. The water that is used to irrigate the Longfellow fields and stuff, the controls are all within this building. So there's some things that need to be addressed as we look to possibly put this in an inventory to offload or to sell to the public. So we're looking at all those things, and that's part of the assessment as we move forward on this and with included in the Parks Master Plan. Follow-up, Commissioner O'Neill.
Thanks, Chief Executive. Just question, in the lease, is it going up January, or does it go up? I mean, $100 a month is, like, if you guys got any more of these buildings, I'd love to rent every one of them. Like that honestly, not being smart, but that is crazy to me that's only $100 a month, because they are a for-profit organization.
Yeah. Commissioner O'Neill, I have Director Gleason up here as well, but to answer that question, this is something that's been on the forefront of what we're looking at in many of the leases that we have throughout Butte-Silver, but I'll let Director Gleason answer a question here.
Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioner O'Neill, Commissioners, this agreement will be effective January 1st of 2022. It goes to $300 this first year, $500 a month the next year, and $700 the following year, which is market. So it's a 3-year to market value. And then, like Chief Executive Gallagher had stated, by that time we'll have a master plan for parks before you and adopted, and then we'll be assessing the need to continue to have that building and possibly sell it, or will we be looking at additional rent or offering it differently in the future. But the $300 becomes effective January 1, then $500 next year, $700 to market.
Thank you, Director Gleason. Follow-up.
Thank you. Last thing, I still think, again, it's no disrespect against the martial arts or whatever, but regardless of market or whatever, like, it's still at 300. Just want to note that it's a great deal, and again, no disrespect on that, but it's still it's tough for me. I mean, good for them. I'm not trying to kick them out, but they're cutting a fat hog, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Neill. And just to address that a little bit, we recognize that we were not at market value on that, and it needed to be adjusted, but in the same sense, they have been good tenants, and to bring them up to speed and giving them an opportunity while we address the master plan and then find out where we need to go with this. I think that we put it out fairly to raise that rent. Okay. Commissioner Fisher and then Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. As many know, this has been on my radar for many, many years, and the $100 a month was crazy, and I've squawked about it probably for 8 years, but even at $3,600 and then going to $6,840, I mean, and I understand it's in the park master plan and all this, but I guess the long and the short of it, not just this Longfellow Hall, but other businesses in Butte, I just don't understand how you should be able to run a retail business, out of a building that is owned by the county. And I mean, this isn't the only one we got. There's others, and probably others that have substantially more value than this one does. And I do think it needs to be looked at in the future, because this is a minimal one, and I know and everybody knows there's others in this town that we got to look at, because we can no longer pay to put roofs and heating systems in buildings and not collect no tax dollars out of it. I mean, these are not in a URA, they're not in a TED. These are just buildings that are being used for people to make money out of. And as Commissioner O'Neill said, and I got to agree with him, you know, as a business owner in Butte, I wish I could get by for even $8,400 a month, you know, some places, or $8,400 a year. I mean, that's a pretty good gift. I mean, you know, taxes on that property, I live right across the street. I mean, none of these amounts here could even hardly pay the taxes in that district. So I agree, and I'm glad something's being done, but I wish it would have been a little more firm on the first year, because the profit's been great for the last many years. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Fortune. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Reardon, then Commissioner Fortune.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. Being new on it, I guess I've got a year in here and all that, I think it would be very enlightening and interesting to see exactly how many of these buildings are out there that are being leased by the county to individuals at a reduced rate or a lease, I guess, you know, and what the contents of this lease are. Hopefully there's very few of them, but we, as a commissioners, and we really don't know how many they are. And I think it would be interesting if that information was furnished to us so we could take a look at what's going on internally with these buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Gleason, if you could come up and answer that question.
Yes, so Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioner Reardon, and Commissioners, we can definitely provide that to you, but we also will provide an agreement that's attached to them, because you're going to find that we have some facilities that are leased $1 a year, but they have a development agreement or some other outside agreement with them that they have to provide so many other services to the community. I'm thinking of the Motherlode Theater, for example. That's one example. Just to add to this facility at the Longfellow, it's not in part of this agreement, and it might be really good to have them come before you and explain to all the other programs that they are offering. I know that, I can't remember the little gal's name that owns this, but she actually came before council and did a presentation. They offer a lot of after-school programs. They offered reduced rate programs for students that can't pay the full amount to attend. And so there's other after-school programs that they're providing in this facility. And again, it ties into the connection of the Longfellow facility and the youth activity and youth complex and sports that are provided there. So that was some rationale years back for offering some of these, you know, some of the reduced rate for, in addition to allowing some kids have access to these type of facilities or programs that normally wouldn't be afforded those opportunities. So it might be really good to have her come before you and explain to you some of the programming that she's offered in that facility. And then second of all, explain some of the work that she's done in that facility, because I believe also at one time she's came before council and explained some of the additional work that they did to that facility as part of the agreement, so.
Thank you, Director Gleason. Commissioner Callahan.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I just wanted to thank Danette for getting up and explaining that, because they did come before us here a couple of years ago and explained, and they do a ton of work with the youth of Butte. And one thing that hasn't been mentioned here, and I think you kind of explained it, but that facility would have to be maintained by Butte-Silver. We'd have to heat the building. We'd have to take care of everything, and we know what kind of damage happens to buildings that are unoccupied. So, you know, you got to look at the whole picture. You can't just think the city of Butte's making off with a fat hog here, because they do a lot for the community of Butte, and it's a building that we'd have to maintain. We'd have to pay the power bill and have to worry about the vandalism and stuff if it wasn't occupied. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Callahan. Any other questions? Okay, Commissioner Fortune, would you like to make a motion?
I guess I do have one more question.
Okay.
Is there, I mean, do we have to agree to these amounts? I guess I'm just still stuck on, I mean, I get they do a lot for Butte, but there's a lot of competing martial arts businesses in Butte that probably pay market value rent that, I mean, $700 is nothing. I mean, pretty much you could look at every place in Butte and it's still a cheap rent. I mean, do we have to agree to this, or can we just propose the $700 market value year 1, 2, and 3?
Commissioner Fortune, you can make a motion to deny this. Commissioner Shaw, if you would like to.
Certainly, and that's a great idea, Chief Executive Gallagher. We can also move it to committee of the whole and have Bob Lazary come before us, and we could possibly talk about other, prices, options, that sort of thing. I don't think this has to be carved in stone at the moment, but we could move it. We have a committee of the whole meeting on the 29th. We could possibly have that discussed then if you'd like to move it to that. You want to make that motion?
Okay.
Move it to the
Yeah,
committee of the whole.
you need to say it. You need to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to move this to the committee of the whole on the 29th.
Okay, second.
We have a motion and a second to move this to the committee of the whole. Anything else on the question? Commissioner Fisher?
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I guess my question is, have we made the agreement?
Well, we couldn't have made the agreement because tonight we're asking for you to give me permission to enter into that agreement. And so with the recommendation or the motion, we don't have the concurrence to give this to me to sign the contract. Follow up, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher, but as you know, there's been things come before the council that have already been agreed upon by two parties, and we can either concur and place on file or deny. But if there's already an agreement, it would do no good to deny because the agreement's already been made. And we have seen them before, so thank you.
Commissioner Fisher, I'll just address one thing and then I'll go to Commissioner Shaw here. I think that there's been negotiations about where they would go to, but it cannot be formal until we actually enter into this contract formally in this body. So Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive, and that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to call on Danette if she wanted to make another comment about this, but I do believe that the contract is still open for negotiation. That's the basic thing, and why not keep it open until we make a decision on what we'd like to do?
So,
Director Gleason.
Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioner Shaw, no contract is final until council gives the chief executive authorization, until you approve the contract and the chief executive can sign it. We do negotiations with different parties, but it's always noted that nothing's finalized until it's executed by the chief executive, and he cannot sign anything until you give him authorization to enter into that agreement.
And to that point a little bit, probably what would happen if we don't have this executed by January 1st, we would revert back to the previous lease that we have with them, which would be $100 a month until such time that we finalize an agreement with them to move forward. Okay. Any other questions? Could commissioners please vote? And this is to move to the committee of the whole. And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
10 yea, 1 nay.
10 yea, 1 nay, motion passes. Moving on to, I think we're finished there. We have no more segregations, if I'm correct. We'll move to Section 4, Ordinance and Resolutions being introduced to Judiciary. We have one resolution number 2021-55 being moved to Judiciary. Moving on to Section 5, Ordinance and Resolutions for second reading. We have Council Bill number 2021-08. Clerk, please read the caption.
An ordinance amending Title 15 of the Butte-Silver Municipal Code, BSBMC, entitled Buildings and Construction, amending Chapter 15.10, entitled Fire Code, and specifically amending Section 151060, entitled Article 78, amended, Sale of Fireworks, and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to place Council Bill number 2021-08 on second reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move to second reading. Anything on the question? Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. You know, I read through the resolution and the fireworks, and this is what we're on, I believe, the fireworks, correct?
Yes, correct.
And I just see a lot of problems with allowing people to light fireworks till 2 a.m. when disturbing the peace is also an ordinance, so are we contradicting one another by disturbing the peace and then having another ordinance that states you're allowed to light fireworks till 2 a.m.? That's one of my concerns. Another about my concerns is, when are you going to start regulating businesses that, whether it be fireworks, now we're going to cut their days back, which is a little different. But next on the agenda is the pot shops that are coming to town. I'm already getting calls. What time are we going to let them stay open till? What time are we going to let them open? What time are we going to let them close? What kind of hours? What kind of restrictions? I just have a real problem with starting to set guidelines in a new agenda when we're abandoning rules or ordinances that have been set in place for a long time. And I really think we should maybe look at this a little further, because it really isn't in the best interest of Silver Bow County to allow people to disturb the peace at 2 in the morning by lighting fireworks. I think, we should put a time limit on it, and I don't mind, cutting back the days if that's what you want to do. But the way this ordinance is, resolution is written now, which I made a copy of it and redlined it myself, I just see a lot of issues that are going to come out of this that are not really what the people wanted. And if some of the people wanted it, I think we maybe should have more people involved, because I think we're really making a mistake by allowing people to light fireworks till 2 a.m. And I think we're making a mistake by allowing people to regulate another person's business on when they can open and when they can close, because the next one is going to be the pot shops, and it's already on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Any other questions? Commissioner Anderson.
Just to reply, I can see where you're coming from on that. There's a few issues that I have with it too, when you're trying to compromise and get work done in the limited time we have in the subcommittees. As you know, it kind of gets pretty compacted sometimes. What I would do is I'd make a substitute motion at this time to refer this communication and council bill to the committee of the whole, so there'll be that more discussion that you were talking about, and we can discuss that at the upcoming meeting and have more chance for input and to hammer out some additional changes if needed.
So we have a substitute motion to move this to the committee of the whole for this December 29th meeting?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second to the substitute motion of moving this to the committee of the whole. Anything else on the question? Commissioner Shaw.
Call me crazy, but thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. It's already before the committee, the full committee. Committee of the whole is all 12 of us. It's already before us as a, second reading on a ordinance amendment. And I believe, I don't know, County Attorney Joyce, maybe you can correct me or not, but I don't know if changes can be made on the floor right now. If somebody wants to say, I'd like to change it to 12 o'clock at night, or does it have to go back to Judiciary to be renegotiated? We have another round of this, in Judiciary. So that's my question to County Attorney Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw. County Attorney Joyce.
Mr. Chief Executive, Commissioner Shaw, yes, you could make changes right now, but you'd have to indicate what page and what page number and what line of the ordinance that you'd like to change before you vote on it. But as you indicated, this also, if it passed on second reading tonight, would go back to the Judiciary Committee, and changes can be made in the Judiciary Committee before it's brought back before the full council for a final passage. So the Judiciary Committee can make further amendments, and obviously the rest of the council members can participate in that Judiciary Committee meeting.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that
Thank you, County
everybody
Attorney
understands
Joyce. And
how that works.
Okay. Anything else on the question here? So we do have a substitute motion to move back to committee of the whole, and it's been seconded.
We could amend that.
We'd like to withdraw that? Is that what we would?
Would that be the best?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would withdraw that? Is that what, would that be the proper terminology, withdraw that? So if you would make the,
Yes, it'll go back to judiciary.
okay.
Withdraw a second.
So we'd like, Commissioner Anderson is requesting to withdraw his
Motion.
motion to send it to the committee of the whole?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the second has to be withdrawn.
And so Commissioner Fisher, were you our second?
Yeah, thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I would remove my second motion, second on the motion from Anderson, from Bill Anderson. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go back to the original motion to move this to second reading. Am I correct here? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So this goes to second reading, yeah. So it goes back to judiciary now, before final reading, okay? Anything else on the question? All right, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I guess in closing, I would like to state that I'm opposed to changing the dates of sale. I don't think 3 days is going to matter much. I'm opposed to 2 a.m. light-offs. I think that's way too late. And I agree that midnight is probably late enough at any time, because we already have all these ordinances on the books. They're very tough to enforce, and the more ordinances we make, the tougher they are to enforce. And I think we're just making too many changes to ordinances that are already tough to enforce, and it's just putting more weight on our police and fire department rather than making it a little simpler. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. So is that in a motion, Commissioner Fisher?
No, that's just comment to the motion.
Just comment on that? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 2 nay.
9 yea, 2 nay, motion passes. Moving on to ordinance and resolutions for final reading. Resolution 2021-54, a resolution amending the city and county, Okay, Clerk, could you please read the caption?
A resolution amending the City County of Butte-Silver fiscal year 2022 budget after conducting a public hearing at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Council of Commissioners in accordance with Section 764006 MCA, appropriating unanticipated revenue from the United States Department of Justice Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant to the Butte-Silver Law Enforcement Department and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to place Resolution 2021-54 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move to final reading. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to Section 7, ordinance and resolutions for emergency suspension of the rules. We have two tonight. First one is resolution number 2021-56. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move for the suspension of the rules for the purpose of passing Council Resolutions number 2021-56 and 2021-57 by waiving subsection 7 of Rule 36 of the Rules and Order of Business of the Council of Commissioners, thereby having them considered for advanced passage without reference to the Judiciary Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and this goes to both resolutions, is that correct? For the suspension of the rules for resolution number 2021-56 and 2021-57 for suspension of the rules. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to resolution number 2021-56. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution authorizing the submission of an application for Albertson's Distribution Center with the Department of Commerce of the State of Montana for Big Sky Economic Development Trust Fund Program under the terms of the Community Development Act of 1974, 42 U.S.C. 5301, as amended.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to place Council Resolution 2021-56 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move to final reading. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to resolution number 2021-57. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution authorizing the submission of an application for Montana Craft Malt with the Department of Commerce of the State of Montana for Big Sky Economic Development Trust Fund Program under the terms of the Community Development Act of 1974, 42 U.S.C. 5301, as amended.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to place Council Resolution 2021-57 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place resolution number 2021-57 on final reading. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Commissioner Anderson? I don't think he's recorded. And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to any public comment on any matter not on the agenda tonight. If you have any item you would like to speak of, please come to the microphone. Seeing none, we will move on to the calendar of other events. Just note all the different meetings that we have, and then I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn, and before we do, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I think Friday night,
Yep.
people are going to gather together to enjoy some company outside of here. So with that, we are, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Opposed, nay.
See you all
Motion
Friday.
passes.